What's good, team? Right now, I'm going to bring you guys another episode of the beating series today. And on this week's episode, I'll be bringing you guys how to beat Metalfoes, because Metalfoes is technically a meta deck, and I personally believe it's one of the better decks of the format. And with that being said, you guys are going to need to know how to beat this deck. Now, right now in the format, we're in a weird shape where a lot of decks are easy to play because you have a fuck ton of different decks hopping. But with that being said, I personally feel like Metalfoes is one of the better decks. So in this video, it's my sole purpose to tell you guys how to be Metalfoes. But before I actually get to the video, I just want to bring up the fact that, as a lot of you guys already know, I will be going to YCS Minnesota 2016 next month in downtown Minneapolis. So the reason why I wanted to make this announcement is because I do need a little help from you guys. So I set up a GoFundMe account to help fund my trip. And the reason why I set up the GoFundMe account is mainly because of me having a short amount of time to save up money for the trip. Because I requested the days off for work, my boss gave me the days off the last minute, he just told me I can go. So now I'm trying to scrap together as much change as I can to go to this YCS, so I can bring you guys more competitive coverage. All I'm asking for is 50 cents to $1 from you guys via PayPal to help support my trip. And if you guys want to support me on the GoFundMe account, unfortunately through the GoFundMe account, the minimum donation is $5. Links to both will be in the description below. I absolutely hate asking you guys for money, and I don't like asking my subscribers and fans for money. But you know, this is also benefiting you guys as well, because I'm going to be going to YCS Minnesota, and I'm going to be bringing you guys more content, more coverage, trying to get you guys top cut deck profiles, and just overall player interviews. And a reward tier for this type of thing I'm going to be trying to do it for everyone is basically whoever wants to do it. You can get a guest upload on my channel, and you'll be able to, you know, be in a video and etc. So now to get all that personal stuff out of the way, let's finally get to how to beat Metalfoes. So sorry about that, and let's begin. Why this deck is powerful? The deck is powerful because it is a pendulum-based deck. The deck is very consistent and it has good demanding board presence. The Metalfoes deck, it being pendulum based, is going to give it good board presence. Reason being, they pop each other while they're in the zones to set a spell or trap card from their deck. And if you open up with enough Metalfoes from your hand, it allows you to keep doing the same loops over and then fuse out the fusions to have a good board presence and rest. And it's very consistent what it does. I mean, pendulum decks in general are inherently consistent in my personal opinion. So yeah, this deck is very powerful in what it does. As I always tell you guys, when it comes to my beating series, the top 3 things about this deck that will make this deck good are going to be the things that I'm going to tackle on beating this deck. So I'm going to be tackling on beating the pendulum mechanic in this video, beating Metalfoes consistency, and getting over Metalfoes board presence. So let's start off with disrupting the pendulum mechanic. So the pendulum mechanic is a mechanic that recycles itself inherently. Every time you destroy a pendulum card in the pendulum zone, it goes to the extra deck. But there are a lot of cards that disrupt the pendulum mechanic. A great example of a card that gets not as much play as it used to back in the Pepe format is Typhoon. Target one face-up spell or trap card on the field, destroy it. If your opponent controls 2 or more spell and trap cards, and you control no spell or trap cards, you can activate this card from your hand. Now that's very powerful due to the fact that when your opponent starts setting up a scale, you can pop a scale so they don't have a continue in play. You can really set them behind a lot. And in this format where everyone wants to go first, it's very good. Solemn Warning. Now, any Solemn card be good, from Solemn Scolding to Solemn Strike to Solemn Warning. But I'm going to focus on Warning because it's the better of the cards. Well, technically Scolding is the better in my personal opinion, but Warning is the better right now because it could be used in a multitude of decks, while Scolding can only be used in decks like Monarchs and decks that run low spell trap count. So, Warning. When a monster will be special summoned, or when a spell or trap card or a monster effect is activated that includes the effect that special summons a monster or monsters, pay 2,000 life points to negate the summon or activation, and if you do, destroy that card. Now, what a lot of people don't know, surprisingly, when you Solemn Strike a Pendulum Summon or Solemn Warning a Pendulum Summon, they all go to the graveyard. Now that's huge, because if the opponent spends one entire turn trying to set up their Pendulum play for one big push, and you have the Strike and a Warning, you should pretty much win from there, especially if you're playing a deck like Heroes where you have Dark on board and everything just get banished as well. So the Warning, the Strikes, are really good for disrupting Pendulum mechanic. And then last but not least, the cream de la creme disrupting the pendulum mechanic, anti-spell fragrance. You flip it up, opponent must set spell and trap cards before activating them. You cannot set pendulum cards in the pendulum zone due to the fact that they're considered monsters in your hand. Then once you play them, then that's when they're considered pendulum continuous spell cards. So flipping on spell fragrance can just floodgate you out to win the game. Now outside of these cards, there are more cards that disrupt the pendulum mechanic, which are Twin Twisters, cards that banish like Master of Darklaw and Cosmic Cyclone. Now Twin Twisters is good because when your opponent, if you go first and set a Twin Twister and you don't really have much and your opponent tries to set up a pendulum skill, you can 2-for-2 your opponent, pop in their cards, and if they don't have another way to set up their skill, you can set them back for a few turns. Cards like Master of Darklaw and cards like Macrocosmo, or cards that just banish cards in any way, are really good against pendulum matchup, because especially against decks like Metalfoes, due to the fact that while they are on the field, anytime a pendulum card would be destroyed, it will go to the banish zone instead of the extra deck. Reason being, I have no idea. That's just the way Konami, it's one of those Konami rules it that way, so that's how it's ruled. So anything like Darklaw, Macrocosmos, etc. is really good against disrupting pendulum plays. Then Cosmic Cyclone is the opposite good card, because you pay the 1k, you banish a pendulum card on the field. But the thing about Cosmic Cyclone that's good against this deck, it kind of has an MST negate type of effect, because when your opponent goes, let's say for example they go to Metalfoes Fusion, you can chain Cosmic Cyclone targeting Metalfoes Fusion. Yeah, Metalfoes Fusion still resolves, but guess what? You get to banish that card after it resolves. So that's pretty good due to the fact that you're banishing a key card so they can't recycle it. So just keep in mind, Cosmic Cyclone has a lot of applications. Even outside of this deck, Cosmic Cyclone can hit decks like Cosmos. You can banish the Cosmo Town, and now you don't have to worry about them trying to get their plussing off of when you destroy with MST or something. So all these cards can disrupt pendulums, and yeah, they're really good for the deck. Now that I talked about disrupting the pendulums, let's talk about the hurting the deck's consistency. Now when it comes to Metalfoes, you want to hurt the deck consistently with mainly hand trap like the Max C and then Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. Not going to really going over the Max C, but briefly, you know, Max C when they're trying to go for a big pendulum push going turn 1 and you going second, it could slow them down, make them make plays they want to make, or if they want to take the Max C challenge, it can put you in a good position to win. Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, it works like Typhoon in the sense that when they place the cards on their skill and they activate it, you can send it from your hand to graveyard to destroy one of their skills, which could actually help you win the game. And not to mention, when they have their spell and trap cards on the field, that allows them to do a lot of searching and replacing the monster on the field, you can Ghost Ogre the spell and trap card. So Ghost Ogre has a lot of applications in this deck as well. Not to mention, it's a tuner, so level 3, if you're playing a level 4 deck like Heroes, for example, or anything like that, you can make Black Rose Dragon pop the field, which is always a good thing. And then cards like Fossil Dynamics are going to be also another good way to floodgate this type of deck due to the fact that it says neither player can special summon cards while it's facing on the field. So you have Fossil Dynamics, you equip it with a PK sword or a save zone, and you're good to go to hurting this deck's consistency a lot. So yeah, we talked about the consistency, we talked about hurting, disrupting pendulum plays. Now let's get over the board presence. Now this is going to be the last slide for the video, and it's going to be talking about the board presence. Now, just like a lot of decks in this format, and just like the Blue Eyes deck I did last week, this deck can make massive board presence, and they also have a lot of cards, like their trap cards that help replenish their board. But with that being said, we have cards like Raigeki and Swords of Consuming Light that can help us get their board presence. Reason being, a lot of their monsters are 2600, 2800, and if you're playing a weenie deck like Heroes, even if you're playing Cosmos and you don't want to have to worry about their monster effects, you can get rid of their field with the Raigeki. You can sort of like their field down and stall them out. And then you have the cards like the Mirror Forces, like Drowning Mirror Force, Stormy Mirror Force, or Quaking Mirror Force, just to help you get their monsters out of the way so they can't beat you down. Because the reason why this deck, and decks in general, can beat the opponent down is because they make massive boards turn 1 or try to make unlockable boards turn 1. And you can just get them out of the day with cards like Swords of Consuming Light, Drowning Mirror Force, Quaking Mirror Force, and Raigeki. So yeah, getting out of board presence, these type of cards are going to be the best thing to help you out. Raigeki and Swords of Consuming Light is going to be good going first. Drowning Mirror Force is going to be good going second. Or if you go first, you don't open up with Raigeki. So in this video, we talked about the getting out of board presence, hurting the deck's consistency, and disrupting the pendulum plays. Now, the reason why I didn't really have too much to say about Metalfoes deck in general is because I talked about beating Pendulum before. Pretty much all Pendulum decks are the same in my personal opinion. And it's just set up scale, let your cards go to the Pendulum zone, bring them all back, and spam the field. Same thing Pepe did just on a different level. But obviously Pepe was more powerful in this deck because it was less reliant on fusion cards and more reliant on just using the best rank force in the game. So with all that being said, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, give it a big thumbs up. Just like last week, I'm going to have the deck I'm going to be talking about this week on the video, and next week I believe I should be talking about how to beat either Cosmos or how to beat something. Let me guys know what you want me to talk about beating in the comment section down below. And as I always tell you guys, if you're a new viewer to the channel, I'd love for you to subscribe for more competitive Yu-Gi-Oh content. I upload 3 times a week. On Mondays to do my general discussions, on Wednesdays to do my top 10s, and on Fridays to do my explain series where I explain decks and archetypes in detail. I do these videos because I truly believe in helping you guys become better players, and also do these videos because I truly believe in you guys helping me become a better player. This is Chris from Team Innovations, and I'm signing out. Peace guys, and stay innovative. 3. The archetype originates from the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX anime with the character Alexis Rose. Alexis Rose started off with the cyber girl dancer